So one of the coins that has okay, what is up, guys? Did Brian Armstrong of Coinbase kill the Clarity Act? And is that maybe not such a bad thing. We're going to dive into that today on today's Frugal BC. Got plenty of news to talk about. Not so much great news for the charts today, unfortunately. We're looking at some pullback, but it's hard to remember, I think, sometimes that we were below 90,000 on Bitcoin not that long ago. So seeing this isn't really the end of the world. If you look at the chart too, I mean, you see the pullback isn't nearly as severe as what we had. So keeping that in mind, Cloudy Vibes in the chat saying, "Sup fam? Welcome to the show. Good to have you here." We are live on YouTube, on X, on Twitch, and on Kick, all four of those platforms. And it looks like it's working in vertical too, so we should be out to vertical. Now, I imagine that when we go to our screens, that it's not looking so good. And that's where the canvas, that's still one of the things I have to kind of figure out. But that's what we're going to talk about. And fear and greed is at neutral today, actually. So as is, and you're kind of slightly oversold on our side. We'll get into all the charts and stuff today. Just hoping more people would join us, but we got plenty to talk about, lots going on, and had a little X outage today, which was rather unfortunate. I thought I might actually have to delay the stream, and I put out a little post. I know one person liked it, so at least someone saw it. But we are live now. It did work. It is working well enough to do what we got to do. Fortunately, I had done most of my prep ahead of time, so that wasn't too much of a problem. Usually that's kind of an issue. We'll get into it. Like I said, one thing that kind of annoys me about my new setup is I don't have a live viewer count on here. I can pull up the studio every once in a while and see it that way, which is fine. But if you're joining us today, give us a shout out. And if you haven't hit the like button already, really appreciate you doing that, because it just gets it out to more people, especially early on. Yeah, the viewers are coming in now. They're coming in, so I like to see that. Appreciate that, fam. And yeah, go ahead and give it a like button. I'm just looking at the view. It looks like it. Yeah, I'm not quite centered in the frame here, so I guess there's not much I can do about that. I don't think I can actually change this. Maybe I can. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much I can do to. Well, there I recentered myself, so I'm sure. Like I said, I'm sure once I go to the to the screen mode, it might not look so good on the vertical, but we're putting it on there. So if you're watching on your phone and you're seeing it in vertical, let us know in the comments. I'm curious. And if you're watching on X, I'm kind of curious how many people this is going out to. In fact, I'm going to pull that up next, because that was an issue today. X was working fine this morning, and then it just wasn't. And seems to be, I don't know. I don't see, no feeds at all are pulling up on my screen, including my own. So no idea if anybody is watching on X. Kick and Twitch should be unaffected. So that's interesting. But it looks like X is at least functioning, so we should be able to do our stream. Because it just occurred to me I rely pretty heavily on X for crypto. It's kind of the home of crypto, really. It's home of crypto conversation. I know there's some stuff on Reddit, but it's not quite the same. You don't have this cross-pollination. You don't have people from Solana talking to people from Algorand or vice versa. And I'm also excited about today. Is supposed to be the day that I get my first payout on X. Now, I have no idea how much that's going to be. I've been checking my creators studio to see if it went through. It has not yet. Mostly I'm just super curious how much it's going to be, and if it's going to be, I seriously have no idea what to expect. It could be next to nothing. It could be like a decent amount of money. So we're just really curious. But if you want to follow me on X, it is at BC_Kowalski. So you can check that out. And I'm thinking about changing that handle, by the way. I saw Alpha Arcade just changed its handle. John Doe says hello from snowy Michigan. You know what? I am, either below you or west of you, depending on which part of Michigan you're in. But we just had a nice little snowfall ourselves, and I'm hoping they're gonna groom the fat bike trails that I can get out later this afternoon after I finish my other work. So welcome from another snowy land, from one snowy land to another, let's say, huh? And that's probably enough of me blabbing. Do push that like button again, like I said, and subscribe to the channel. Always nice to have new subscribers. By the way, this is Houghton Lake area. I've been to Houghton. I love it up there. It's been a while. Yeah, Houghton's awesome. Just a reminder, we also have a podcast. You can get these streams available via podcast, usually a day or two later when I can get them out. You just search for Frugal BC in your favorite podcast app. I just found mine on the Overdrive app, I think is the one, I think it's called, the one I use. And that works out pretty handy. Well, why don't we just get to the charts? So let's dive right in. Let's see. I think we usually use full screen. I wonder if there's a better one. I thought maybe crypto bubbles might be fun, but so here we have Bitcoin sitting at just under 95,000, and it's easy to be a little bit sad about this, but let's remember we're still up 4% on the week on Bitcoin. We had reached up into 97,000. That was a lot of fun. Ethereum now below 3,300. It was even above 3,300 just this morning. So like I said, things kind of pulling back a little bit, and that's okay. I believe Bitcoin is still well above the 50-day moving average, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Arguably finding support at that level. And XRP is still above $2. Now, remember, I bought most of my XRP at 53 cents. And my average buy, even because I was buying back in a little bit on Solana, is still like 70 some dollars. So I'm still way up on that. I tried to play around with a Solana trading bot this week. And unfortunately, I had a little bit of Solana on a Phantom wallet. So I thought I'd play around with it a little bit, but it wouldn't recognize the seed phrase from the Phantom wallet. So I wasn't able to do that. It was created by the same person who made the Nyla trading app or bot. Yeah, I guess it'd be a trading bot. This was like an automatic trading thing that would, supposed to like buy the dips and sell high and whatever. So I'm kind of doing that manually on Bitcoin. I actually bought a little Bitcoin today with the dip. So Chainlink was above $14 finally, sitting a little below that. It's looking, and Zcash down. Now look at Monero. Monero had pumped up 52, almost 53% on the week, pulling back ever so slightly on the 24-hour, but that's still a huge jump for Monero. So congrats to Monero followers. I think from what I heard, this is really the true privacy coin. Zcash not quite having the features that privacy advocates would want to see. Hyperliquid just below $24. That's even down on the week. A lot of crypto is down on the week. And Hedera back below 12 cents. And let's just skip down to Algorand. Now finding itself in 63rd, still above 12 cents, but below 13 cents. And it is down on the week. So now Dash is 140% up. So that's wild. And VeChain, I'm sorry, it's actually Pump.Fun having a good week. And as has Story. Very interesting one, this Story. These two just tend to pump. The Pump.Fun platform seems to be doing pretty well now. Pudgy used to always pump, but that one's falling backwards now. Interesting. Let's go and see what everyone's doing. Well, who's the biggest winners and losers? But before we do that, Jay Court says buying dips and all holds and trying to push Z back up from what I hope is new support. I definitely, for coins that I'm going to hold long term, I do just buy dips, Bitcoin especially, because I found a lot of, I've done all these experiments, I've done all this DeFi stuff, I played around with it, and at the end of the day, I would have done better if I just bought and hold Bitcoin. In fact, if I had just bought and hold Bitcoin and bought dips back in 2017, when I first started with all this, I would have way more. It would have been easy for me to accumulate several Bitcoin, and I would be sitting very pretty right now. John Doe says Litecoin is my biggest bag, and of course, one of the worst performers. Well, you know, Algorand people say that too, because it's kind of been true for us. Why don't we see coin market cap here? Let's see the 7-day here. Yeah, Dash definitely leading it on the 7-day with 140% up, followed by Monero, then Pump.Fun, Chiliz, Story IP, and ICP again, just having a stellar time here. But that Skycoin is back up here again now, and Morpho. Ethereum is actually up there, 13th, followed by Bitcoin, which is interesting. It's just really interesting to see what coins end up here. And you notice it's almost never the utility coins except for ICP. It is nice to see Monero up there, but a lot of times it's like Pump.Fun. It's one story, you know, it's these ones that you haven't really heard of, or we don't talk a lot about on the channel. So, you know, it's all about what are your goals. If your goals are just to make money, right now utility isn't really the way. But if you're going to use crypto, which I do quite a bit, I mean, Algorand's just a great platform for that. That's why I like it. 24-hour still Dash, followed by Story, followed by Sky, Chiliz, and then Tezos, blast from the past here, making a entry here. J-Cord's big fan of ICP, given the muscle emoji. I like that. Ooh, look at Midnight here, a number 6 on the 24-hour. Nexo, Pump Fund, Bitcoin Cash, and MYX Finance. That one's always up here too. You know, from having watched these week from week, it's like there's certain ones that just always pump, you know? Who did the worst on the 7-day? Litecoin. What are we talking about, John Doe? There you are. Litecoin, number 2 on the worst performers of the week. Followed by Virtuals, then XDC, then Athena, and yeah, Polygon's on that too, dropping back to 14 cents. I had some high hopes for her. Polygon, Ondo on there too. And even Algorand's in number 13th for that, so yeah, that's no fun. And then 24-hour Polygon, absolutely top worst performer, followed by Pudgy Penguins, which that one's usually one of the ones that was in the gainer list, so that's interesting. Aptos on there, Athena. Look at all the this is what's frustrating, and this has been frustrating in me for crypto for a while. It's like all the ones that have utility, AVAX, Algorand, Polkadot, Aptos, Polygon, they're just tanking. Meanwhile, what's doing really well? It's well, Bitcoin. Well, hold on. You know, Story. Oh, Tezos is on there. I guess that's a utility, I think. Pump.Fun, stuff like that. So I don't know. What do you do? Sometimes you just got to, you just got to, like, it is what it is, right? John Doe giving a little, I don't know what we call that. Beat up face, I guess. Emoji, whatever. Yeah, meanwhile, it's funny because when things were like taking out, the fear and greed index is a really lagging indicator, because when things were pumping like crazy, it was still like barely neutral. And now that things have kind of leveled off, we're sitting at perfectly neutral at 50. Altcoin season, we're actually weighted toward Bitcoin, and that's really hasn't changed much. RSI ever so slightly oversold, nothing too interesting there. James, I don't know how to pronounce that, says Polygon sucks because planning to focus only on stable coins. Well, I think they're focusing on payments, which makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm a little snotty today. So I don't think that's a bad thing. We're going to look at that today, actually. Don't necessarily want to do Polygon every stream that we do, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. But let's head over to our Haystack screener. Oh, sorry about that. That's probably gross. And as you can imagine, this is Haystack, by the way, and they are a sponsor of the channel, so we are happy to shout them out. I did a little swapping on Haystack the other day. It is smooth as butter, let me tell you. Fun to use. And by the way, you can start trading on your mobile app, and it's one of the easiest apps to use. You can use my link down below, and you can get a referral code and start referring other people too, and then you get a little cut of their trades, which is pretty fun. One thing I don't like that I don't like that like stable coins are at the top. I kind of like the way Vestige lays this out, so I got to give them some grief on that, I guess, a little bit. But here's our first natural meme coin, and that's Alpha Arcade. And Alpha Arcade sitting at 2 cents, down a little bit, but kind of holding the line. Haystack dropped quite a bit. Poker Gold dropped, like pretty much everything. Pretty much everything is down about 4 to 7%. Tiny's actually up to, well, no, it was at 0.3 of a cent. Yeah, just not a lot of positive news. KuCoin pulling back in the last hour. I guess that's good a little bit, huh? And you can't see it, but Pheasant Pluckers, which could be very funny flipped, I guess. And the Vestige coin down there, you can't see it. Down 20% on the 7 days, so not super fun. But yeah, there's just not a lot to look at that's exciting on that, unfortunately. But I do highly recommend Haystack. I think the team behind it is excellent. I think I think you'll see this hold off pretty well, just like Alpha Arcade. Very similar tokenomics. They both have a burn mechanism. They've both been very smart about how they handle things. So yeah, I would keep an eye out for this. And we got some Alpha Arcade news coming up too, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we're going to go through that pretty quickly, I think, just because there's not much to say there, unfortunately. And the nice thing is we also have, we also have a similar platform for Hedera coins now. So let's go to the Explorer pool. And that is going slow. J Court says the best daily tactic: put up Bitcoin 1 minute chart by 6:30 a.m. Eastern time on weekdays, and watch. I assume you mean macro data come from Wall Street. Gives immediate sentiment for daily off metrics. Yeah, interesting. Maybe we'll try that. Yeah. So as you may expect now, Saucer Swap doesn't have the 7-day, unfortunately, and I kind of wish it did. That would be nice, but they do give us this nice 24-hour data, and nothing is looking up as you might expect. Sauce itself down almost 7%. That's one of the worst ones here. Same with XSauce. Pack down. Oh, we got Gib is up though. Gib, this Gib one seems to be changing with the market. So when everything is down, Gib is up, and vice versa. Seems to be a contra mover. Even Karate down 4%. Yeah, there's not much to be, other than Gib, there's not much to be excited about on this chart. LCX kind of holding. GC, it looks like gold. Is this a gold coin? Is that what that is? Maybe can we click on it? Is it going to tell us about it? Gcoin. We are an estate holding company that buys. Oh, is this Gilbert Estates? Is this from the? It must be from Gilbert Estates. It says we, but it actually should probably say. Anyway, it says we are an estate holding company that buys and rents out assets. Our token will be a crucial part in tokenizing not just our assets, but other estates' assets too. When our platform is complete, users will have the ability to yield their, Gcoin against individual properties. It will also be used for our Learn to Earn platform, where users can read our academic books and complete tests to earn Gcoin. Well, that's interesting. I think that's from Gilbert Estates, but they shouldn't say we, they should say, because it doesn't actually say the company name there. But anyway, yeah, of course they're going to lose our place. Good listen, says Jake Kurtz. Good luck, brother. Catch you next time. Have a great weekend. Buy copper. Silver's too expensive now. I've actually been DCAing into, I know people laugh at this, I've been DCAing into gold, and I'm considering that a long-term thing. And so far so good. So yeah, Dino at down 6%. Yeah, so like we said, oh, down 10% for the Smack M. Not good on that one, but yeah, nothing really to get excited about on the Hedera charts. So that is that. And we're going to get to our next segments coming here soon. Let me just set them up. Before I do that, I just want to take a quick look at how things are going here. Probably start with our Algorand segment because we have a pretty lengthy one, and it'd be nice to get through that. A nice little audience today, and if you haven't hit the like button already, it looks like there's 17 of you watching, so if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. Like I said, it will help show the channel to more. Oh, we got 18 of you actually. It'll show it to more people, so that's always very helpful. Be sure to hit that like button and do subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate that a lot. Let's pull up X. Hopefully X is working. If it's not, we're in a lot of trouble. Well, even when it wasn't working, I was able to get at the more. And I know I should be. I'm just really excited to see what my payout is going to be. I don't know what time it typically comes. Probably Friday afternoon, I think. But we're watching for that. Let's set up our Algorand segment. We got a lot of really cool stuff. I can go in a bunch of different directions here. I think we'll start with the board. Okay, so ground rules for our segments. When I do them, I don't respond to chat until after the segment is complete, unless it's relevant to what we're talking about, in which case I will bring it up. So let me get a little coffee. Algorand recently got a shout out from the Wolf of All Streets. Why? Because one, it is coming to the US, something we've talked about already. But secondly, brand new board on for the Algorand Foundation. Now, people have been wondering when this is going to happen, and they didn't really signal it until it was done, which it is done now. So why don't we dive in and see what is going on with the new board? Welcome to the Algo Fam, and this is Bill Barr. Are you going to do this thing where you don't? Okay, the preview window is not coming up. Bill Barr, M. Mosier, and Rebecca Reddig, and Alex Holmes. Shout out to congratulations to Ertu, who has agreed to become a technical advisor to the board and chair of the new to be formed Ecosystem Advisory Council. But let's find out who these people are, because this is the interesting part. And I don't want to necessarily just read this verbatim because it's kind of boring. But here, the board includes Bill Barheit, founder and CEO of Abra, Alex Holmes, the executive vice chairman of United Texas Bank Dallas and former CEO of MoneyGram, Michael Mosier, co-founder of Actoros PLLC and acting director at U.S. Treasury FinCEN, and Rebecca Reddig, CLO of Judo Labs, and of course Stacy Warden, who's the CEO of Algorand Foundation. So some people wondered, wait a minute, why is this person still here? And they were wondering, is Stacy going to be gone? Well, no, she's not. She's still going to be involved. I guess I'm confused about this because how is the CEO also a board member? Is that standard? I always thought the board like basically gave the CEO direction, and that the CEO wouldn't also be a member of the board, but I guess maybe I'm misunderstanding that. And I thought there was something interesting I saw, but I'm trying to find. No, I don't remember where I read this, but I thought someone had some CIA, part of a CIA background. Am I wrong about that? Maybe I am. I guess I don't know where I saw that, but Yeah, so this is the new board. So a pretty interesting group of people, I would say. Let's see what they're shouting out. The renewed commitment to the U.S. comes at a time when Algorand's technology is already being used to solve practical financial challenges around the world, the same kinds of use cases the foundation plans to expand through its U.S. presence. Lofty is broadening the access to real estate investments. Haystack, by the way, I'm not a fan of Lofty. I just think it's I think it's one of those things that sounds good on paper until you actually try it out. And I think adding the automatic market maker really killed it, because then now the coin doesn't really reflect the value of the real estate. So you're not really owning a piece of the real estate. You're just owning a token that's based on that real estate. And it's not the same thing. Haystack is improving the efficiency and cost of cross-border payments. Well, okay. I didn't know that that's what their focus was. I thought their focus was on like basically being the PayPal of Afghanistan and now some other areas. So, Folks, finance is bringing collateralized debt products on chain. I think that's true, as well as interoperability. It's one of the few Algorand projects that have real interoperability, although we will get to that in a minute. Conio is enabling the tokenization of real-world assets. Greenblue says usually the chair CEO more often, I think, but not in this case. Well, usually like the CEO, like the board has hiring and firing power over the CEO. So it seems odd that they would serve on the board, I guess. But yeah, so a lot of just reaction isn't that interesting, but we do have a new board, and like I said, it got shouted out on the Wolf of Wall Streets, which is pretty cool. And I thought this was interesting. You know, a lot of people talked about interoperability on Algorand and, well, frankly, the lack of it. But now the Albridge Algorand integration is live. So users can now bridge USDC to Algorand from several chains, including Solana, Avalanche, Base, Ethereum, Sui, and Stellar, and more. Interoperability on Algorand is here. By the way, and I don't know if I have any Sui fans in my audience. I'm kind of half of a fan, but Sui had a big outage this week. So taking one more off the list where chains that have never been down, Algorand is one of them. And I see Paul in the chat saying Algorand is a weaker version of XRP. It's nothing like XRP, and I don't even know where you can come up with that. I'm not like an anti-XRP, but I do. I'm still waiting for some utility there. I see a lot of promises. Well, so I was debating whether to react to this. Maybe we'll save this for later, because the EZA Labs people, they've been a big fan of Algorand. This seems to be around XRP, but I do want to give them a big shout out for launching their new platform. That's awesome. And maybe we'll react to that later on after the segment, because I don't think it's Algorand related. I was going to tie it in, but I think that would be a mistake. But let's go down. Some of you guys remember we covered the Algorand. Oops, that's not the one. We covered the Algorand final launch, and one of the issues was the grand prize winners seemed to have like almost no Algorand activity. It turned out to be a bot. So D13 here, engineer at Algorand, says we have updated the management Algorand Co interface to help spot bot farmers. For each referral, you can now see the funding account as well as the specific quests that they have completed and the order in which they completed them. The W6ZIA account that was picked for the 100,000 Algo prize, that was the grand prize number 2, by the way, is easily identified as belonging to a bot farm. Now, remember that we pointed this out during our live stream, that this seemed like really, some of the winners seemed really fishy. Like they weren't, it didn't seem like they had done a ton of actual contests. Like they hadn't actually participated much, and they didn't seem to have any other activities. So they almost seemed created just to do this. And turns out at least one of them was part of a huge bot farm. So I thought that was good to point out because, it should be fair. And, the big issue I had with it, even beyond that, is there was just no pageantry, it was so anticlimactic. It was just this engineer getting up here, basically reading off the winners and kind of running the code, running the verifiably random engine, and then just kind of being like done with it. And I thought, like, you just gave away this whole huge set of prizes and you did almost nothing around it. Like, this is your flagship marketing campaign, and you did nothing to promote it. It was like, it was such a surprising letdown. And for someone who, should be an expert in marketing, I found this very strange. So this was interesting. Altcoin Daily pointing out that Algorand is quantum secure, which we all know. We all know this is the case. Yet another wholly misleading assertion, says Ian Wood. In fact, I would in fact go so far as to say this is a lie. Algorand is not post-quantum secure. And the fact that it was not PQ from Genesis means it is I think they meant in exactly the same boat as Bitcoin and Ethereum. There was a really good... I always take advice of a medical officer regarding quantum security. Yeah, former Royal Navy Commando medical officer. Which doesn't mean that he's wrong necessarily, but... Well, now where is it? Because, oh shoot. There was some very good retweets. Can I see those? Don't you know 99% of yeah. I guess I'm a little surprised because I know that there were more tweets besides me, but there were people talking about how this is total nonsense because the history is quantum secure and it has been for a very long time. And we now have quantum transactions, and they are available. I actually had some talk with some Algorand engineers. It is available now. It's kind of computer intensive, so a lot of people aren't going to use it yet. But it is entirely possible for even a DeFi project right now, if they want their transactions to be secure, they can do that. I see some chats. We'll get to those in a second. On a more lighter note, there's a new platform called Algorand, and we're going to look at this. We're going to look at a surprise that I had around this. This is a community-driven ranking and voting platform for the Algorand ecosystem. Crypto is full of dead and abandoned projects. Users are lost in the noise, self-promotion, temporary hype, and out-of-date static directories. Totally true. There's been tons of stuff that's been tanking lately. This makes it harder for users to find what is actually worth attention. It also makes it harder for builders to be heard beyond hype. Algorand fixes that. It is dynamic, community-driven, and updates in real time. It surfaces the most supported tokens, NFTs, dApps, and people purely through community voting. Algorand turns daily community input into a live signal you can read in seconds for free. And you know what? We might start looking at this every stream. But let's why don't we just dive in? That's enough talking about it. Let's see. Is it going to show up? Probably show up better here. Yeah, so these are the tokens. DDAO at the top, followed by Hoop, IPT, Algo, Alpha, Ka, Hey, Differ from the Daffy rewards, Coop, Q, IGA is even on there, Gora's down there. Folks dropping quite a bit on that list, which is actually kind of surprising. And then you can check out NFT projects. Donkey DAO at the top. So this is the guy who created Donkey DAO. And then this is Donkey DAO itself, followed by Algo Octopus, Basketball Go, Algo, I don't know how you say that. B Cartel Squatties. They've got the I actually have one of their sweatshirts that they sent me. Algorand, Ghetto Pigeons, Bromo, Algolem Mutants, Shitty Kitties. I like the Shitty Kitties. Those are cool. Basic Belinda, I like that. And Algo Numbers. So you can kind of see what's ranking. And then dApps. What are the top dApps? Down Bad. I didn't even know about this one. I did not know about Down Bad. We're going to look at that. Tiny Man, Vestige, Folks Finance, View Reward, Compex, Ghetto Pigeons, Basic World, Algorand Daily Lottery, which we've been doing experiments on, and non-fungible domains. Then followed by Alpha Arcade. So it's interesting to see what's at the top of this. Now, people is where it gets interesting. And I dropped to number 9. I was up around 6 or 7, so I dropped to number 9. That's kind of a bummer, but Dosed at the top, followed by Tap for Me, Stacks, Silvio Macaulay is up there, Perdoodles, Greenery Community, Metagrat, Ranter, and Frugal BC, then Michael Jordan at number 10. So Zach Minner, I feel like I know that. Oh, that's Minner, yeah. Minner, Begums, Algo Numbers, Fred Estante, Stacy's up there, Flamborghini, D13 up there. Yeah, so if you want to give me a shout out, I am on here, and you can. It's too bad I can't. It has website. Is that going to be my YouTube channel? Ooh, it is. Cool. So if you want to check out algorank.fun, you can vote for yours truly. You can vote for your favorite platform, your favorite NFT, and your favorite token. I think this is a really cool project. I'm happy to see something like this, especially if you want to see like what has a lot of support in terms of coins. That's kind of, in NFTs. That's kind of nice to see. Well, congrats on those guys for putting those together. They're mixing them up again. I hate when they do that. Let me just check if there's anything else we didn't. Oh, they're mixing them up. I hate when they do that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of our Algorand news for today. That's what I wanted to cover. So, yeah, thanks so much for tuning in for that. We got a couple more segments to go through. We'll answer some questions. YCat's in the chat giving us a shout out. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. And just sold all my crypto in my portfolio. Too many issues surrounding crypto at the moment. Well, at the moment is kind of the key phrase there. You know, I think too many people react in the moment, and you really got to be patient with crypto. So, I mean, everyone's got to do what they got to do, right? What is your time horizon for Algorand? Are you DCAing? I'm actually, and I covered this in a past video, I'm actually DCAing out ever so slightly while also staking. So basically, I'm just trimming my position, and that's going to happen over the course of the year. And what I think is going to happen, I think it's going to increase in price. So I'm going to be locking in profits as the price goes up. Now, that's what I'm doing because I just feel like I'm a little overweight on crypto for various reasons that don't have anything to do with like straight up buying and holding exactly. Like, for example, all my any sponsorships that I've done, like it's always been paid through my crypto wallet, so it tends to kind of stay on there. So it's grown in a lot of ways. And then I was doing a lot of DeFi during the days when DeFi actually paid out pretty well. Now it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of a dud now compared to what it was. So that's my answer on there. And let's see what, I'm just gonna pull up my studio in the meantime. So yeah, thanks for all the chats. Thanks for everyone who's watching. And I know I say this like a million times and people probably get ticked after a while, but do hit that like button because it really shows the channel to other people, and I appreciate that. I got a couple more segments to get through, and then we will call it a day. Subscribe too if you're not if you haven't subscribed already. I appreciate that as well. It's funny, I get very different numbers depending on where I look, so I don't know who to trust. I'm just gonna say it's going well. I don't even know if I'm getting anything on X. I can't see anything on X right now that's running. No shows at all, so no spaces, no videos. So I don't know if anyone's seeing me on X, but it kind of doesn't matter. The thing I'm really curious about, I'm getting the payout today, and I'm very curious what that's going to be. So I guess we'll see. This would be a good one to start with. All right, so we're going to do, Simon says he's watching on X. Okay, so you're seeing it. Yeah, it's not on my X screen. It is not coming out at all. Can you see how many people are watching? I'm just curious. I can't see it on X at all. So I'm just kind of curious. You like to know who's watching and how many. Maybe I shouldn't care it. I should just do it, but it is what it is. Okay. 17. Pretty low then. Okay. I mean, it makes sense because, like I said, on my screen, I'm not seeing any videos or spaces or anything. So it's probably X has had some problems today. Okay, well, I'm gonna start my Hedera segment now. So just give me a second. And like I said, I don't respond to chats during the segment unless it's related to what we're actually talking about. And we're gonna do Hedera next. So one more drink of water. Oh shoot. It was all right. I got to start that over. Hold on. So this is why I don't like to mute it, because if I forget, then I have no. You need to get your water filter checked. Yeah, that's coffee. That's iced coffee, not water. It's a dirty mug. Yeah, that would be bad. Okay, now I'm gonna start it because it's actually working. Okay. 2025 was a huge year for Hedera enterprise adoption. It was on the roadmap of a lot of different companies, but now this year JP Morgan has put Hedera on its map. So let's see what this means. That's right. This is from Gilly. Says JP Morgan puts Hedera on the institutional tokenization roadmap. They have published a white paper where they explain something very simple. Money market funds. Hold on. Money market funds can move to the blockchain world to be faster, more efficient, and easier to move. In the document, they review the different types of blockchains that exist. When they talk about public networks, but with control and governance, they give a clear example, Hedera Hashgraph. You can see it right here. Hedera Hashgraph is an example of this type of network. They're talking about public permission DLTs. There's also private permissioned and public permissionless. So the one that one they're talking about Ethereum. Too bad we didn't see Algorand on there. I think that would be the The one I would go with, but when they talk about public and permission DLT, they're talking about Hedera Hashgraph, and that is right on JP Morgan Asset Management. I think that's a big deal because it means Hedera is on their radar. They're paying attention. And let's look at this. This is from Kimchi. We like to follow them. U.S. Banking GOP Market Structure Draft HBAR ETF Regulation and Utility. A newly circulated draft of the Senate Banking Committee's Digital Asset Market Structure Bill introduces a critical shift in how crypto assets are classified. Now, we've got an issue with this now because we've had some back and forth on this clarity bill. I don't know if this is the same one. Is this a different one? Anyway, key change. Tokens are the primary assets of ETFs listed on the U.S. National Securities Exchanges as of January 1st, 2026, are treated as non-ancillary assets, meaning they are not subject to the additional disclosure requirements applied to other tokens. Being ETF-backed signals institutional, regulatory, and market validation. Under this framework, qualifying tokens start on the same legal footing as Bitcoin and ETH. Tokens impacted are XRP, Sol, Litecoin, HBAR, Doge, Link, treated alongside BTC and ETH from day one. I think it means treated equally. What this means for Hedera, recognized as an independent network asset, not a project-issued ancillary token, reduced regulatory uncertainty, and clear path for institutional adoption and real-world use. The bigger picture, ETF inclusion, legal clarity, scalable utility. U.S. crypto policy is shifting from is it a security to how trusted digital infrastructure can be safely used. But we got a long ways to go. We got a long ways to go on any type of crypto regulation other than the Genius Act, Clarity Act, still struggling in to get passed. But we got more stuff. Probably going to skip that one today. This one from Cointelegraph. And this is the same thing we just talked about. Digital Asset Market Clarity Act would treat XRP, Sol, Litecoin, HBAR, Doge, and Link the same as Bitcoin and ETH. This applies if they back exchange-traded projects as of January 1st, 2026. Now, Hedera informed, saying no surprise, Hedera HBAR is included. Hedera's governance is exactly what regulators want to see. This is how you build for the long term. Unfortunately, oops, sorry. Apparently, I haven't pulled this up in a while. I'm sure we've got a news item. How do they not have one? I can't believe the block doesn't have that on their front page. Well, we'll go with Reuters, I guess. Switch over to this one. Summary: Senate Banking Committee postpones crypto bill discussion hours after Coinbase CEO's objections. Coinbase CEO criticizes bill's impact on stablecoin rewards. That's the issue, and a good one to be concerned about, I think, if you're a crypto holder. Bill defines crypto tokens as securities, commodities, and others. Now, that's very different than what we saw before. The Senate Banking Committee was scheduled to debate amendments to the bill dubbed the Clarity Act on Thursday, but it canceled that so-called markup late on Wednesday after Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong said on X the bill had too many issues and that the company could not support it in a major blow for the regulation. Armstrong said the bill would erode the authority of the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the industry's preferred regulator, and kill crypto companies' ability to offer rewards on customer holdings of dollar-pegged tokens known as stablecoins, among other complaints. We'd rather have no bill than a bad bill, is what he's saying. And that's what I'm saying too. I think he's right, because the banks were super ticked that these stable coins were able to offer rewards. Now they technically aren't able to offer yield, but they just framed it as rewards and used a different mechanism so you can still earn on your yield. And they don't like that because they want you to earn 0.2% on your holding, or 0.02 on your holdings or something, versus like, you know, the 4 or 5, 6, 7% that you can get on stable coins sometimes. And so I think he's right. I actually agree with him on there. And that's the reason why you're not seeing that pass. And I thought, before we go on from our HBAR segment, I thought this was potentially interesting. So this is from Ryan King Solomon. He's talking to one of the Hedera council member, Tata Communications, which discloses supplier billing is fully settled on Hedera with 100% adoption across 1,300 suppliers. Let me put on my headphones and we'll give this a listen.
Can you talk about some of the work that Tata Communications has done as far as proof of concepts thus far with these suppliers? Where does that overlap with Hedera?
So, as I said, we work closely with the Hashgraph team. So we started by picking the billing problem, and then we have expanded that to a larger problem, which I will talk about. But essentially, we have done a couple of, I would say, not just proof of concept for billing. We've actually successfully implemented a system where Hedera brought the power of their underlying layer 1 and layer 2 DLT and services, and we complemented by building a layer 3 application on top that enables billing to happen, right? So this system is implemented, it's live. We have 100% adoption of our suppliers. Close to about 1,300 suppliers are now using this system, right? And we are settling on billing 100% on this platform. So it's no more a POC, it's a live platform, right? And our intent is now to expand that concept and say, now, can we extend that to become a global roaming marketplace where any operator can come and they can contract, they can settle, they can essentially manage their entire life cycle, right, on the platform. So that's something we worked on an initial POC with the Hashgraph Association, and we are testing this between Zane, who is another council member, and ourselves. So the idea is to drive initial testing and adoption of this platform and then take it to the wider market globally.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there, and maybe we're going to have to probably do a follow-up interview and some.
Yeah, he's probably right. There's a lot to talk about there. I think that's really interesting that they're actually using it. I've noticed Hedera TPS has gone up a little bit, although still pretty low overall. So hopefully, I think we're going to see, with a lot of institutional interest in Hedera last year, I think you're going to start seeing more of these types of use cases, and you're going to see TPS on Hedera start going up. So, by the way, this is a $5.53 billion global telecom company with annual revenues of $2.72 billion, and they're using Hedera to settle 100% of its billing. That's a pretty big deal. Might be the most undervalued token on the market. Now, some people in the chat, we've got Cursed Lift saying, yeah, I've been holding since 2020. I just feel foolish now. Time to make a move. Mr. Moon saying HBAR was around 5 cents in 2020. Most of my buys on Hedera on HBAR were around 5 cents. So I've been at least up 2x, sometimes as high as 4 or 5x on Hedera. Definitely took some profits. I think you got to take profits on some of these coins, these altcoins. Now, Green Blue says Armstrong is right. China is offering yield. Well, and we can offer yield too, and they have been. So right now, if we were to take that, the banks are really threatened by this, by the way. They're really threatened by the idea that you can earn on stable coins and earn actual real yield versus what they're offering you, which is jack squat, because they're making more money. And I heard someone argue, it's like, well, it's more nuanced than that. I'm like, well, it is, and it is in plenty of ways. First off, I don't think Mr. Moon saying all-time high was 57 cents. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, Algorand's had all-time highs much higher. Like it was like $2, $2.60, I think, something like that. I know some people cite higher numbers, but like, you know, it didn't really sustain up to that point, but it was actually pretty steady at like 240, 260. And we're nowhere, we haven't come anywhere near that since. So all altcoins have been, well, I shouldn't say all of them, but anyway, yeah, the banks, I mean, here's the thing I think about that crypto legislation is that those rewards are available now. I think it's going to be a long time, but it's coming. It's going to be a long time before people switch over. There's a lot of normies who just fundamentally don't trust crypto, and they're not going to switch overnight. You know, you and I, we're crypto people, okay? So we're into this stuff. We're going to, you know, we're going to take advantage of those opportunities. But a lot of people are just like fundamentally distrustful of crypto. And the idea that they're going to switch overnight from the banks, like that's just not going to happen. But it is a threat to their business, and it will be a problem down the road. So they're right to be, they're operating in their own self-interest, and that doesn't mean that's good for all of us. Yes, RWA and tokenized stocks, Green Blue, you're 100% correct. RWA and tokenized stocks also were attacked, and that sucks. Yeah, and you know, we didn't even cover that part. The Reuters one didn't really cover that, but so Hedera's impacted by this. Hedera was specifically mentioned. And along with other ones, like we said, you know, XRP's on there, Solana's on there, Litecoin, HBAR, Doge, and Link, and Bitcoin, and ETH. So I mean, they had a pretty good bill, and they, you know, the special interests get involved and they mess it up, and that's usually how it works. But that is our HBAR segment for today. So I appreciate everyone tuning in for that. If you haven't hit the like button, I know I say it a million times, but please press it ever so gently so it stokes the algorithms. Appreciate that. And I think we got one more segment. Let me just check a couple things here, and maybe we'll get to that. Subscribers increasing. I like to see that. Thanks for subscribing to the channel, everyone. Just for fun, tell me where you're watching from. I think it'd be fun to know where everyone is. We had someone from the Houghton, Michigan area, and I love it up there. Really cool place. We can do that while I set up the next segment. I'm just curious to hear where people are from. I think it's kind of neat. Oops, we did Hedera. Yeah, by the way, I'm a big fan of Genfinity, who just... Oh, that's something from last time. I guess I didn't save that. Oh, we did? No, we did. I take it back. Yeah, so I talked about Polygon and payments, and this is what we're going to talk about next time. So hold on. By the way, a good time to remind you that we also have, this is available on podcast form. I do some light editing and sound work on it and throw it up there. So if you want to listen to this on the go on your favorite podcast platform, I'm pretty much everywhere. I guess there's other ones I could click to go to. I don't know if it requires any setup. It was pretty easy. It was actually shockingly easy to set up the podcast. So if you guys want to check that out, like I said, Spotify, Apple, you know, whatever. I found it on my Overdrive? Overcast. Sorry, Overcast. That's the platform that I use, and I'm not sure where. I think it pulls from Apple. I'm not sure, but it's on there, so I found it. I tried to listen to it. It wouldn't play for whatever reason. So, well, let me know if you're having trouble having it play. And we're just going to finish up with our Polygon segment, and then we will probably call it a day. I'm going to have one more sip of coffee. You know what? If I hit the mic button, if I hit the mute button, I'm just going to keep my hand on it. That way I can't forget. All right, Polygon has made a lot of news lately, and it's been one of the coins that had been pumping up a lot after, frankly, crashing quite a bit. It's got a new purpose now and a new name. It's no longer Matic, it's now Pol. That switchover happened a little while ago, but now there is a new, well, some big news happened on Polygon this week around payments and an acquisition. So why don't we take a look at this? And this is right from Polygon, breaking Polygon to become US regulated payments platform. Shouldn't that be a payments platform? But whatever. We're acquiring CoinMe and Sequence to move all money on chain. Regulated money movement in 48 states. Fiat on and off ramps. 50,000 fiat to crypto locations in the US. Easy onboarding with wallet infra. And one-click crypto transactions across chains. All vertically integrated in the Polygon open money stack. So we had a commenter earlier saying that we're going to stable coins. Not quite stable coins, but definitely payments. The vision is simple. Enable instant money movement for anyone, anywhere, and put it to work. Polygon is building a single vertically integrated offering for banks, fintechs, and enterprises with the right tools and solutions to move all money on chain. This is where CoinMe and Sequence comes in. What if it comes in or come in? I don't know. Anyway. The CoinMe unlock. CoinMe brings regulated access to U.S. money movement through money transmitter licenses and a licensed wallet infrastructure operating in 48 U.S. states and 50,000 plus retail locations. So that, I mean, that's pretty big. Yeah, that's not messing around. And then they also bring enterprise-ready API enabling Web 2 and Web 3 companies to offer crypto trading, custody, and on and off ramps. The CoinMe is backed by Pantera Capital, DCG Company, Coinstar, Circle Ventures, in MoneyGram. Is Coinstar, are they the ones that make those like crappy those Bitcoin ATMs? Because I don't know, that seems like a total scam. Like, I just don't know why you would want to buy it at an ATM. It doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know if that's them. No, Coinstar is oh no. Oh, this is what Coinstar is. Sorry, Sorry, Coinstar, don't sue me. This is the one where you can take your money and basically take your coins and get money for it. Sorry, Coinstar. Anyway, they're serving enterprise customers like Exodus. Remember, Exodus is the first company to be tokenized on Algorand. First publicly traded company. Coinstar and banks alongside 1 million plus CoinMe payments apps users. The OX sequence unlock. Sequence makes on-chain payments simple and seamless, abstracting blockchain complexities away from the user. The acquisition brings embedded wallets with enterprise-grade security and Trails HQ, a one-click cross-chain orchestration and intense engine that abstracts bridging, swaps, and gas from end users. Yeah, the abstraction layer is really important because you know what? People don't want to have to deal with, like you and me, we can like handle some of this stuff, but most people, they don't want to deal with crypto wallets. They don't want to deal with all this BS. They just want it to work and do what they want to do, basically. Sequence is backed by Brevin Howard Digital, initialized Coinbase, Polychain, Consensus, Take-Two Interactive, Ubisoft, and whatever company that is. With Sequence and Trails already used across major ecosystems, including Polygon, Immutable, Monad, Arbitrum, Magic Eden. I haven't heard of that. Sonium, I don't know about that either. Together, Polygon's battle-tested blockchain rails, CoinMe's regulated money management, and on and off-ramp network, Sequence's wallet and cross-chain payments layer from the foundational components form the foundational components of Polygon's open money stack. So basically, the ipso facto of all this is they want to be, I guess I could keep talking. Oh, no, it is. That stuff will get you demonetized really fast. Basically they're going to be the payments platform is what they're aiming to do, and this is a huge strategic move toward that. Now, will that actually move the needle for Polygon? Who knows, right? So what did people have to say about this? We got to skip. This is the thing about threads, I thought it was pretty big. I gave it a shout out. Huge shout out from Generation Infinity. We're big fans of them. Friend of the channel. Here's Just Gemini, someone I follow, would work faster and cheaper on Algorand with instant finality and quantum resistance. But it looks like most people are pretty positive on this. A crypto company that has pivoted into an actual business, which I would say Chainlink also like that. It's something that's actually giving real world business and solutions. So can they be successful at this? I think it's possible, but it is a layer 2 on Ethereum, and we'll see how that ends up. I'm just seeing if anyone wrote anything interesting, and I'm not really seeing a lot. There's a lot of big words. Sounds like someone's trying to make crypto less confusing for normies. Anyway, back to my capybara. I don't know what that means, but capybara and Sui. Well, I think this is something it's interesting to highlight, because frankly, it for crypto to actually gain some kind of adoption, it's going to have to do that. Like, you're not gonna gain any kind of, why is that so far up? Okay. Yeah, there's no such thing as adoption when it's as complex as it is right now. It's just not going to happen. So if you want people to actually be able to use it, you do have to kind of abstract away the tech a little bit. It's kind of like, I had this conversation with John Woods, who's the CTO of Algorand, and we talked about this. Like, it's a lot like the computer era. There in the 80s, like, you had to have a ton of technical knowledge to use a PC, and so it was really hobbyists. It was people who are like super into PCs who were using them, and now everyone has a super powerful computer in their pocket, and they're not thinking about the technology. They're not programming anything. They're just using it. As Chandon says, in 2021, we're going to bank the unbanked. 2026, we acquired a bank. But I get it, and it's kind of funny. But I think it makes sense, in my opinion. Now, I know people are really upset about the price action. The Polygon was one of the coins I bought for the bull run, and that really didn't work out for me. Are you guys still changing from Paul back to Matic or not? I haven't heard about that. I don't know. What do you think? Personally, I think both are retarded. I just remember the lore. I don't remember hearing anything about that. But now they're even calling themselves payment solutions for the payment solution for payment solutions. That's pretty funny. That's pretty clever, I think. It's also a little word salady, but it does make sense. Well, this we'll see about this little arrow up, but I think it makes sense. I think it's a good pivot. I think one of the challenges a lot of crypto projects have is they just struggle to find a real definition. Like, I remember I used to go through the Coinbase earn platforms, and it would say all this stuff about they say all this stuff about this, like what they're doing, and it was all so generic. It's like you could have like copied and pasted it between all of them. Nothing was very distinct. So this is at least like, we're going to focus on this particular thing. And I think calling it a bank is maybe a little misleading too, but yeah, let us know what you think in the chat. But good for Polygon. And that is our Polygon segment. I hope you found that interesting. Z-Sten says he's from New Orleans. So cool. Welcome to the show. I'm sure it is a lot warmer there than it is where I am. It's actually snowing right now. I can see it out my window. Duke Luke MD. I like that. Duke Luke says pay ATM LOL. I don't know what that means exactly. Pay at the moment? PEI. I don't know what that refers to. And then banks are shook of losing customers, says Alex DeGreat with a 1 instead of an L. I like it. Well, I think they are. I think they're absolutely afraid of losing customers. But I don't think it's going to happen overnight. Some people are saying like they're acting like it's going to happen tomorrow. And I just don't think that's the case. I think these things take time. Adoption takes time. And a lot of people are, they're not necessarily going to switch to crypto overnight. I just don't think that's going to happen. Well, that is all our segments. We can take a look to see. Anything new happening? Not really. It's actually, Bitcoin's just a little under 95,000. Doesn't really look like anything changed since we started the stream. Alex DeGreat says, remember, banks can only cover 250,000 or less in case of a bank run. Well, it's not the bank, actually. It's the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, something like that. But yes, you're right. I can't bank run a stablecoin. Stablecoin is more safe than having it in a bank. Yeah, I could argue that, but also like no FDIC, yes. But I don't know who is holding, who there's no insurance for if your stablecoin is hacked or your wallet is hacked. So it's not like totally risk-free. Let's not pretend there's risks in everything, and crypto has its own risks. It also has its own rewards. And so I think that's important to keep in mind. I wonder if I've had... Gotta put some crypto bubble. I like this one, by the way. Well, we're on the month. See, things look really good if you look a month out. Look how everything's green in a month out. If you go to a week, it doesn't look so good, but there's a couple good ones. Monero's doing good. Pump is doing good. Sky is doing good. I should get this as my screen shaver. So look, this would look pretty cool. They should offer that. In fact, they could probably like sell it to you for like $1 or something, And even BNB is up a little bit. ETH at 5.6. This is a week now. And a lot of stuff not doing so good on the week. So that's interesting. All right. Well, anyway, guys, everyone, I appreciate everyone tuning in this week. I think we had a good discussion, good audience. Like the back and forth, and like people telling me where you're from. So that's always fun. And well, hopefully, like I said, but you got to remember, and I think zooming a month out is good. And I like that. I like that crypto bubbles allows you to do that. A year is very interesting. Okay, actually, hold on. I'm going to show you this. This is a year in New York City welcome from New York City. This is Zcash over a year. This is Monero over a year is way up, and but otherwise you see a lot of red. You see a lot of red in projects that I think should probably be doing a lot better. Kind of puts it in perspective. I don't think, Algorand's not the worst here. It's among the worst, but they're all pretty bad for the most part, except one called Dash. Pax Gold is up. That makes sense. Zcash, of course, is crushing it lately, and that's enough, or was crushing it last year. Monero really crushed it. Yeah, most of the coins that you own and probably like are way in the red. And this is over a year. So, all right. Well, on that fun note, Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Always fun to talk crypto with you. And remember, we're Tuesday and Friday now, live stream, so you can check us out on either or both of those days. Also, if you want to listen to this on the go, you can check out the Frugal BC podcast, available on Apple and Spotify and probably whatever app you use. Like I said, I use Overcast, and it showed up on there, so should be available where you want to listen to it. And appreciate all the likes that you gave the video. We got some new subscribers, always fun for that. We do have channel memberships, including the second tier gives you access to all our experiment videos, which we do on a weekly basis. We also, the lowest tier gives you videos before anyone else. So you can check that out. Obviously not the live because we can't do that way, but so I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope everyone has a great day out there. Stay safe, enjoy your weekend, and